Hi everyone, welcome back to this week's video. It's Mark here from Digital Groove Online. In this week's video we're going to look at speeding up the process by saving presets inside Ableton's Drum Rack. Now Ableton's Drum Rack is already available inside most versions of Ableton Live, and some of you might just bring them in and drop some samples in them in the pads and use them within your tracks, but I'm going to show you a way to speed up your workflow by creating your own banks, I suppose, or presets of certain sounds that will help you get through some of your productions a little bit quicker, particularly if you're doing remixes. You have some of your favorite sounds already at your disposal. So let's just jump in and take a look. I've jumped into Loop Cloud and I've got together a couple of samples. It's just a couple of audio files, and what we're going to do then is create a couple of drum racks and save them and show you how to use them in your projects. So this is what the little sample sounds like for now. Just a simple basic loop over about 15 seconds or so. But we're going to start off now by inserting a MIDI track, and we'll just call this Drum Rack. And we're going to look inside Ableton Live search bar for Drum Rack, and there it is there. We're going to drag it onto the MIDI channel. Now, if you haven't used this before, it allows you to bring in samples, one-shots, or loops, and you can, if they're loops, you can shorten them down to taste and, use one-shots within your loops as well. And you can just fill all these pads. Now, this little section here that I'm hovering over now, that's the squares that we're looking at. Every single one of these squares can be filled. Now, that's a bit overkill, but I recommend at least putting 2 of those banks in there full of your sounds. So the first thing we're going to look for in this track sample is kick drums. So I'm going to navigate to my sample packs, and we're just going to type in kick. We're just going to do this for speed here today, and we'll go to our one-shot drums, and we'll just pick signature kicks, and I'm going to pick 20 of those, and I'm going to drag them down into here, and that will load into that every single kick drum that was selected. And you can see this is now went white down the side here, and that's how many we have in there. There's a little bit above this square. If I click that, there's the remainder there. Okay, so once we have loaded them in, just let's say they're all our favorite kick drums for now, what we can do is hit the save button here, and it will pop up inside the drum rack, and that will name our preset as favorite drums, for example. Favorite drum samples. Okay, and we can hit enter, and that will save it in there as a preset. Now if I get rid of that, this is the power of this. If we open up another project and we're ready to go, and we have our favorite kicks already saved inside the drum rack, if we open that up and just drag our favorite drum samples on, they're already loaded, and that should speed you up. So hopefully you can see the power of this. If we do this for different samples like snare drums, claps, hi-hats, ride samples, and we can build up all these little favorite banks of all our favorite sounds, and you can change them and save over them, or remove ones you don't like and resave them again and just have them at hand. So now the power of this really is, if we draw in an empty MIDI clip and we just fire in 4 kick drums, and we drag this across, just going to mix this in. So the kick drum's in there, and if we double click back in here, what we can do now is highlight these 4 kick drums and play this in real time, and we can then flick through each of these drum samples throughout the track, If you've ever been producing a track before, what sounded really good at the start doesn't necessarily always sound good at the end. So you can sort of get so far through your track and think maybe the kick drum isn't powerful enough anymore. And if you have it in something like this, already saved with your favourite kick drums in it, it's just a matter of cycling through those kick drums. And as the track progresses and more elements start to fill your track out, you might find that a different kick drum or a different snare, different clap sample suits the track a little bit better. So if I hit play now on this, quite like that one. So we'll settle on that kick drum for now, but obviously you can repeat this process over and over again. So we'll put another drum rack in here. And pull one of those drum racks out. And we can this time maybe look for clap samples. So let's go into here, type in clap. Let's go with real claps on this here. We'll maybe select another 20 and bring those in. And we can hit save again. We can call these real claps. And if we just delete that again, now we have our favorite drum samples here and our real claps down there. And if I just drag this back into here, we have our favorite clap samples in there. Right click and insert a MIDI clip. Can nearly say that. And we'll just put that in every second beat. And we'll drag that across. And we'll mix it in. So and we do the same thing again where we can cycle through them. And as it is in the actual drum rack itself, we can then mess about with the sustain. You can play about with the start. So there we go, we've got our favourite drum samples here, and we've got our real claps there, and we can build up all these banks. Lastly, we'll put in one more and just put like a shaker in there, for example. Sorry, look for the drum rack again. And down to the samples. You can grab the samples from anywhere, splice and all that included. Let's just put shakers in here. One shot drums and shakers. Let's see, we'll do the offbeat one. Oh, that's far too many. Let's put 20 in again. And bring it down. Now at the minute I'm just bringing one shot samples in to the drum rack. I'll just show you a quick example if you haven't used loops inside it before. Let's see if there's any loops in here. Let's say it's this top loop section here. Yeah, let's say it was this here sample here and you like the shaker out of that. You can also put loops in and isolate that shaker. So let's go into the square above where the remaining one shots have filtered up into that part of the rack, and we can drag the loop in then. and that gives us the whole loop inside here. So what we can do is, the shaker is obviously the spikier parts, so we can drag the end point down. We can zoom in just by clicking and dragging down on the magnifying glass, and we can line that up. If we turn off snap, we can sort of put it wherever we want then, you know. So roughly about there, and just create a little fade out. And if I just solo that now, I can hit, just hit C. So I need to go up the keyboard a little bit, 20 keys. There we go. So this is the sample here, and it's only going to trigger what we have looped. We can turn that up. We can put a filter on it and take out some of that lower noise, and just put a high pass on it. It's quite nice there. So you have control over that. You can shape the sound as well. And if you're happy enough with that, you can right click in the background here and crop that sample, and it will just leave you with whatever it is we have highlighted within that loop. And I'll just get the start point up a little bit further. Let's see, it's a couple more up. There we go. So there you have it. We've taken in a loop as well and isolated a sample within there, and we're going to hit save again, and we're going to call this shakers. One shots. Okay, now we've got our shakers, one shots, we've got our real claps, and we've got our favorite drum samples. So building up these little libraries of all your favorite stuff will definitely speed up your productivity and workflow with Ableton Live. So lastly, just before we finish off, quite a short video this week, we'll insert the MIDI clip, and we'll put that on the offbeat, and we'll duplicate that across, and we will drag that out. Okay, and just gonna take this solo off now. We're gonna mix in this sample. And again, we can start filtering through all those shaker one shots we put in there. Actually quite like that one. So you get the picture there. I quite like that one there. So if I go back here and hit solo on this, and I want to figure out which one is playing, if I hit play, if you look closely in the bottom left hand corner there, you see this little orange thing flashing. Okay, that tells me where it is. I can sort of see it here. It's on the play marker. But let's say we were on this square here and I couldn't see the play marker that was playing. If you want to, for example, go in and tweak the parameters like fading out, the start and end point of the sample, use the filters, the attack, decay, sustain, release, and things like that, we can see the orange bit flashing here. You click on that square and we can see this playhead in orange. So if I click that square, it will take me directly to it. If I think that's starting a little bit late, we can then move that up and just create a smaller fade in. And that should be a lot closer in time, but I like the way it's a little bit late on that there. But just if you want to manipulate the sample, you click on the pad and then you've got these features here available to you. Okay, so there we go. Short enough video this week, but definitely one that will help you along your way if you're new to Ableton Live, or maybe it's just something you didn't realize that you can do by saving these little presets and building up your own libraries. It's very, very useful, and I definitely recommend that you do it, and you will definitely see faster results quicker. Okay, until next time, see you again.